What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You know what it is. It's Mina Alais, aka the Egyptian Prescription. I have an amazing video today. I'm with my friends, Matt and Andri of ProductPinion. They're going to show us a lot of cool stuff. Basically, they're going to talk about how we can improve click-through rate and conversion rate in our listing, which is very, very important because PPC is driving traffic to your listing, but then half the battle is people seeing your listing and not wanting to click on it, and then people being in your listing and not wanting to convert. And a lot of times we don't know why people don't want to convert. We just see the conversion rate. There are other split testing software out there, but it kind of is up to you to figure out what do you want to split test. But these guys have innovated and they've shown, okay, what if you don't know what to split test? How can you figure out why people don't want to click on your listing? I have them here. They've done a lot of work on MMA nutrition stuff. So they're going to kind of break it down and show how bad my product is in front of everyone.
The bird doesn't sit on the branch because it trusts the branch, but because it trusts its wings to catch it. It's not about the branch. It's not about what I'm standing on, but it's about my wings, my abilities that are going to catch me. So if all of it goes away tomorrow, I can rebuild everything because I have those wings, I have those skills.
So what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Mina.
Awesome. Awesome. So yeah, do you guys want to do like a quick intro, who you guys are? How did you come up with this amazing kind of idea and software? And then what are we going to talk about today? What are the findings?
Yeah, totally. So for myself, I've been selling on Amazon for, I like to say before it was cool. So like 8 years, 9 years or so. And something that I always did, I also worked in software, and software user testing is a big thing where basically you ask people their opinions. And I used to do that with my Amazon listings and nobody else in the space was doing it. And with COVID, sales took a downturn and I was like, hey, well, why not check out this user testing thing, these video things, but applying it to Amazon. And that's how ProductPinion kind of came to be. And then started working with Andri on it. And Andri, go ahead and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, for me, I started selling around 2017. And the secret to my success with the first brand that I exited in 2020 was being able to ask opinions of my community. So I built a little community on Facebook and I was able to design products together, kind of get the feedback right from the customer, right? And with the new brand that I launched later, I found myself with no tool like that. And ProductPinion came in to help me with this because now I can ask my target audience what matters to them. And that's exactly why we built the software, because a lot of sellers try to improve their listings but have no idea what matters. So the why, like what really converts, what really clicks with people, that's what the software is for. Not only like figuring out the step-by-step process that every Amazon guru would share with you, but also what my customer really likes. Why do they deal with me and not somebody else? Or how I can convince them to do so? That's what we're about to share.
And today we're going to go through kind of like what's the process of testing like. So if you've never done any testing, that sort of thing, we'll start from the step one, and then we'll kind of go through. We'll show you some stuff where we messed up too, and we were testing as well, so you can learn from it. We'll do that if that sounds good.
Awesome. And by the way, guys, Andri's product is right there. The one that he sold is right behind him.
It is not the best seller,
scratch maps,
but yeah, not the best seller, but definitely one of the products.
Before we jump in, right? What's your thought process? Like, I have a listing on Amazon. I fixed my listing. I paid some guys. They made it nice. They built a storefront, all this cool stuff that people love. But obviously, one thing that people miss is they think that you need to improve your listing or make your listing once and then it's done. Yeah. But it's actually constantly improving. You're trying to improve all the elements. So I give you a listing. I say, hey, man, I just launched on Amazon. It's been a couple months. Here's my listing. What's the thought process on you can take that listing and improve it?
If you've been selling on Amazon for a long time, there are certain patterns and you've seen a ton of listings. So you kind of get an idea of what will help conversions and that sort of thing. But my thought process is until you're actually talking to shoppers, until you're actually, seeing what other people think, like you don't know what you don't know. And especially as a brand creator, you develop those blinders, right? Like you have the curse of knowledge. You know too much. It's your baby. You stop seeing things. And having that third party look at stuff can go a long way to figuring out how you can improve conversions and how to increase sales big time.
Amazing, man. Okay, let's dive in.
Okay, cool. So just for some higher level context, with ProductPinion, there's actually two types of tests. We're all fairly familiar with split testing where you show different options. You get people voting on which one they prefer. Something that's unique to us are what we call Pinion videos, where we actually record people shopping. So you can actually see what people are doing and they'll think out loud and answer questions that you ask them as they're browsing Amazon. And what you can do is not just, get people to look at your own listing, you can get them to look at competitors' listings, but you can also get them to look at a search result. So for example, you can ask them, hey, which one, you see a search result, which one are you going to click on and why, and that sort of thing. And just for example, this is what it looks like inside the software really quick. And one of the first tests, so the step one that we always do is basically figuring out, the marketplace, right? Like what is it that people are searching for, what attracts them? So in this particular test, if they're searching for electrolyte powder, they're basically telling you which one they prefer and why. So for this one, we actually can ask them up to 3 questions. The video that comes back is between 3 to 5 minutes. We kind of cut them off at a certain point because you don't want too much to have to go through. But basically, in this case, we're giving them a search URL. It's as if they search for electrolytes powder, and they're going through the search results and being like, hey, yeah, this one's interesting.
And why they're interesting.
And why they're interesting. Exactly. So the purpose of this test is to figure out, what are your competitors doing well, and taking that information so you can apply it to your own listing. And what was interesting with this, this one was done a few months back, but the main takeaways from this in terms of your listing, was, the sachets were very interesting. People like the idea of individual sachets. But what's also interesting, by doing this test more recently, more people were concerned about the value. So the costing, the pricing, how that makes more of an impact. So there was a shift. There's a big shift in just, obviously there's a shift in the economy too.
Yeah.
But that's being played out through this as well.
So in terms of sachets, something to add, that might be an idea for a variation of your product, Mina, just from the people's feedback.
Right.
Definitely.
Something else that was interesting was this particular person. What I like about this one, especially when you're having a third party look at stuff, they don't hold back. Like if they find something that's brutal, they'll tell you. So just for example, let's hear this guy for a couple seconds.
It screams boring to me. When you have the little Dr. Berg and then the little guy in the corner, and it's like this crappy font, and the container looks bad, and the whole label looks bad. It's terrible text. It looks ugly to me. The first 2 that do stand out to me are these 2 right here. I'll scroll down in a second, but this one's...
So you can see how he's telling you straight up how he feels, right? So, it's just a small data point, but it's something that kind of gets you going. And the reason why I want to show you this too, because it actually plays into something a little bit later as well. So this is the first type of test I do. I want to see what people are interested in. I want to see what their general feedback, just so I can understand the market. And if you listen to 10 shoppers doing this, I almost can guarantee that category, that niche, better than your competition, because almost nobody does this where they're actually hearing shoppers shop and watching them shop and giving you their opinions as they do it. It's super, super cool. The next kind of test that you can do, we also have something unique that is called Amazon Search Simulation. In short, it stands for ASS. It's an unfortunate or maybe fortunate acronym, but hey, it works.
Well, Amazon Search Simulation, that's what it is. So basically, Amazon Search Simulation is an improvement to the generic split testing that we all tried and used, and it doesn't always help. So what you see right now is what shoppers see when they provide feedback, right? So if we ask them, hey, which one would you click on and why? They actually see the simulation of Amazon search results page. And with all the information, as you see right there, pricing, reviews, and everything can be edited as well. So you can edit the pricing, edit the number of reviews. Say you're launching, but you have a very aggressive launch strategy. You'll have a lot of reviews very soon. You may as well put it there to see what the behavior would be if you already have them. Or if you want to see what is going to be the first few months when you don't have them, same idea, right? Or even pricing, you can test pricing this way. And always try to test only one thing at a time. But conversion is what happens at this stage, right? Whether people click on you or not. And you can optimize your main image, your title, your pricing based on real Amazon customers clicking and explaining why they click on one or the other, right?
Context matters. So with this, you can actually make it. So this is obviously isn't Amazon, but it's close enough that, shoppers get the idea. Like Andri was saying, all the variables are controlled for. Mina, you don't have 15,000 just yet, right?
No.
Right. So in this case, what we did is we actually kind of made the reviews. Once you're at 15,000, around that number, they don't matter as much. So here we're controlling for reviews. We don't necessarily want people to be like, oh, I clicked this one just because I had the most reviews, which is typical for a supplements category, right? The most reviews always typically win. So we wanted to control for that variable, and we can do that with this ability.
That's very smart, because also I think if you didn't show any reviews, there will be hesitation. But because you showed 15,000 reviews for everyone, you immediately now thinking, yeah, they're all equal.
So basically, in this case, we focused only on the image. Let's look at first of all, the pie chart on the right. So if you look at it, the image that Matt just popped up was the winner so far. And that's 300 people from Amazon US who take nutritional supplements. So very targeted audience. And when we read comments of people who click on this option, a lot of them say, I click on this because it shows many options. So it shows other variations in there. And this listing, when we check, they don't offer more than just one package, but on the image, they show other flavors are available, right? And probably for the subconscious mind, it's more like, hey, there's more value. Let me look at it. So that's why people click, right? So something to explore. I know it's in the gray area because clearly you're not selling all 4 of them, but might be worth checking out, trying, testing out, right? And seeing if it helps.
It's definitely great because you're not supposed to have anything except your product image,
right?
Not other things that don't belong in your product. Yeah.
So no one's including cherries in there either, right? Just like with yours, you don't include the powder on the outside. So it's all in the gray area, but something that may lead to more sales for sure. What I was going to add to that as well, when you read the comments on option D, which is your brand, you're starting to figure out why people click on this one. A lot of them talked about great number of servings. They liked no sugar component, right? Seems the most premium and trustworthy based on packaging. And at a glance, the price per serving is the best, right? So stuff like that, when you figure it out, you're like, okay, this is what I need to focus on.
Yeah. And the important thing here as well, too, is this is people selecting your product after they've seen the competition. So it's different than just seeing your product and giving you some feedback. They've seen everybody else, but chose yours on top of seeing everyone else's. So just like Andri is saying, like the 2 biggest things that came out is they love the branding. So the black and gold look luxurious, looks high end, premium and trustworthy. Perfect. We did a great job on branding. Yeah. And value came out quite a bit too, because they see the price, they're doing the calculations of price per serving, that sort of thing. And they like the value. So now those 2 core things, those concepts, are ones that I want to keep in the back of my mind because I want to double down on those. If people are clicking on my listing after seeing the competitions for those 2 reasons, I want to dive into how do I optimize the crap out of those, because that's what's getting the clicks, that's what's getting the stuff.
Another thing that's interesting, and I want you to click on this as well, Matt. When you click on gender here, see there's male and female. When you click on male, you'll see a little different result too. So obviously different designs appear to different genders. And there are many ways to sort these results as well. And you can kind of fine tune and see who you're actually speaking to, right?
Wow. So it seems like when we selected male, my piece of the pie got significantly bigger. Wow. And then when we select female, let's see the female one. I bet you it's like the other one because it's like pink.
That's my guess.
Yeah. So it's
the sachets, the convenience.
It's these 2.
These
that
2.
Are very
wow. Which makes sense. They look fruity. They look like, colorful. They have packets for convenience.
And something else I want to mention too, and this is what I want to relate to why we saw that video of the guy saying he hates this design. In both cases, no matter what, poor Dr. Berg is doing the worst. They're crap. So, this data would tell me they need to rebrand, right? You need to change some stuff because, no matter what, people are qualitatively telling you that it's crap. And even in selecting with competition, they're telling you that it's selected the least as well.
Do you know who Dr. Berg is?
Something tells me it's actually it's a real, I mean, they're all real brands, but is it one that you can get in stores and that sort of thing? Like, is it a bigger kind of
Dr.
brand?
Berg has over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, bro. He's like a massive influencer, like always talks about this, like apple cider vinegar, black ginger, like flat belly type of stuff. Like he's a real like OG
real deal.
And he's making like millions in revenue because of his personal brand. I mean, I guess it's now the company brand too, but he's making a lot of money because of having such a loyal base. Yeah.
So my guess is he's making money because of his personal brand, his YouTube channel, not because he's optimizing well on Amazon. That's interesting. Super interesting.
But another thing to add to it, for brands who do have their own audience, say an email list or Facebook group, there's also an option to ask your own audience, which matters the most, right? If you do have that audience you can talk to, just like I used to have 6,000 people on Facebook, then you can copy public test URL, that one. And that way you can collect free feedback because you already own the audience. I'm not going to charge you for that. And then you can see whether it differs from generic Amazon customers who take supplements from your audience that you have in your email list or Facebook group or Instagram.
I mean, I can even get started with ProductPinion by saying, okay, I'm going to create my test, but I'm not going to spend money yet. I'm going to ask all my friends and family.
Yeah.
And then get that data. I mean, dude, that's very good value.
We don't charge anything extra to do that. And on top of that, if you're emailing your own list, you can actually reward them with a coupon or a discount or something after they take the test. So you can actually be making money with your polls. So, hey, do this poll, get $20 off, whatever it is. And we facilitate that very, very easily as well.
I love it.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Share results is there as well. So if you have a teammate that you want to analyze the results, I know for some busy entrepreneurs, it's a lot to read. It's easy to copy that link and share with anyone who needs to look at it.
So now we're getting into the meat and potatoes of things. So we've done some competitive research. We kind of got some higher level ideas of what's working and that sort of thing. But now I want to run a test. I want to send shoppers directly to our listing and see what they say. And this is where all the magic happens. And we get all sorts of insights from it. In this case, we asked just 15 shoppers, right? So not too many. And this is basically some of the takeaways that you get. So you get these videos where they're talking about what they think specifically of the listing. We'll play this one real quick because this one's great. So this is an athlete. He exercises like 5 days a week. Super skeptical about these products, right? So let's see what his objections are when he looks at Mina's products.
And explain why you think that way. Got it. It says, for this electrolyte powder, what would you need to know to be convinced to buy it? Well, something for me about all of these powders is, does it actually work or add value beyond just eating a salty meal? Naturally, I'm a skeptic that thinks that you don't have to actually drink your electrolytes back. As far as I know, science has shown that eating it back is actually the more effective way. Now, that's just me. I'm not a scientist, not pretending to be, but it says here, created by chemical engineer and reviewed by a registered dietitian. Okay, what are those findings? I would like to see that. That's what really will help me be sold. We all know that sodium, magnesium, potassium, these are all good for you pre and post workout, but is it something I can't get just from eating a normal meal? Or something I don't already get on its own without the need for a powder. So that's what I would need to know to be convinced to buy it. Link me to a few actual scientific studies that sell me on it, because all the electrolyte powders claim pretty much all the same thing, that it's a miracle. I'm going to be, have more endurance, be less fatigued, be less sore, sleep better, fly like Superman, run 60 miles an hour. Every product like this claims these things, but I never see any science backed behind it beyond the claims. Actual science, third-party reviews, peer-reviewed. So that's something for me, and I think a lot of people in this space, there's a natural skepticism there, and I think it's there for good reason. So I need that to be convinced.
Okay, so he basically goes on a lot about the science, a lot about that, and it's fair. So if you look at the listing, we're not going to get double placebo controlled blind studies on this. That's okay. We don't need that, but maybe there is a way, and now it's got us thinking. Maybe there is a way to kind of up the the science factor, up the imagery for the science stuff, that sort of thing. So now we're basically collecting ideas from doing this. Some of the big takeaways, I mean, we won't go through all of this, obviously, because there's quite a number of there, but some of the big takeaways, no sugar is incredibly important. Almost everyone mentioned the sugar thing. That we kind of knew. It's kind of, it kind of makes sense. But that science part that he talked about came up actually quite often. So, is there a third party tests? Where is it made? That sort of thing. They want names. They want to know who's behind the brand when it's something that they're taking in. People say like, who's the chemical engineer? Who's the dietitian? Right? They want that on there. And I'm really curious about this. So it says that I think it's 2.5 grams per serving, but the container contains 300 grams. So if you do the math, it's actually 120 that you get instead of 100.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 3 grams. We updated, but the labels weren't updated.
Gotcha. So it's crazy how a shopper, like I would never have seen that in a million years, but a shopper, and she did that on the fly. She's like, oh yeah, wait a minute, right? So it's good. I mean, so it's great that it's actually a better.
It's amazing
thing.
Feedback. It's really good feedback.
But it's crazy that, another set of eyes can do that. Another big one, people ask, like, is it returnable? So obviously everything on Amazon is returnable, but what if it's terrible? Is there some sort of guarantee? Like, what if I use it? So the listing in this case, I feel is missing a guarantee. So that, hey, another thing in my head, maybe we can work in a guarantee into the listing. Compared to other powders, what makes this one special? There's so many on the market. Okay, another idea going off in my head, maybe make a comparison table for that. A lot of people mentioned for supplements, I have to do research off of Amazon. So do you have the Shopify thing set up? So if people are Googling your brand name, that it comes up, and you do, which is great. So that's a fantastic point too. Another idea that came up, they were comparing it. People were thinking about Gatorade and thinking how much more value this is than say something that's never even mind the sugar in Gatorade, but it also gave me the idea, well, hey, if you're getting 100 servings for this, maybe we can make an infographic or an image that shows, one container of hard work electrolytes equals 100 bottles of Gatorade. And then you're conveying the value big time on what you're getting with it. So that was kind of an idea that just came up from, a shopper saying that. Somebody else was asking for a celebrity endorsement. So obviously celebrity endorsements are not easy to come by. We can't just do that. But it got me thinking, well, can we have testimonials in the product images that come from an athlete? Right? Can we do that? So there's another idea to test. Like maybe I can make that happen.
And you do have a photo of an athlete there. Maybe one of the things we could split test is having a short quote of that athlete and her name or his name saying, hey, I did this and these are the results. Definitely increases the trustworthiness of the brand.
It also doesn't mention where it's made. So people are asking, where is it made? I'm assuming it's made in the US. Yep. And beautiful. If so, I would shout that to the rooftops, right? Made in USA, put the USA flag on it. When we're doing the Pinion videos and we have a listing that has that element, it is always talked about. People love buying local. And here's a ninja tip too. Even if your product's not made in the USA, if you're based selling in the US and you're a small business, you can say, you're supporting a small business, USA flag on it. People resonate and respond with that.
So in short, US flag converts better generally.
In short, for supplements, use the US flag. This is actually one thing I can very quickly split test. Send my image to the designer, say, change the bottle. It's going to be the same thing in the corner. I want you to have a made in USA flag. Move some things around, put that flag in there. Let's do manage my experiments. See what happens. And then you get a 10% better click-through rate. There you go. Your product starts exploding.
Yeah. Even before you do the manage my experiments, you can split test that idea here on ProductPinion and minimize the chances of showing half of the time and not converting, right?
And I love that what you showed me gives me a laundry list of things to improve. So I'm no longer wondering like, oh man, like what should I do? It's like, okay, perfect.
Now you have a list.
Just you have one thing right now. Fix your label so it says 3 grams, 100 servings. Number 2, add the USA. Number 3, show me some studies. Number 4, get me a testimonial. Like it's just a list.
All of these are not guarantees that it's going to perform better, but more like ideas to split test. Because we know people like you and all of us here, we love constant improvements. That's the secret to success. You always improve something. Most sellers just list something and forget about it, and then it stops performing, and then they wonder why, right? But this method kind of motivates you to always seek for what performs better.
And someone else had the objection of like, I don't know if I want to take this because is it illegal so someone was competing in events. Is it illegal to take? Is it a banned substance, right? Maybe it makes sense to mention something like that too. So now we have all of this kind of like qualitative feedback. We have a laundry list of stuff to do, like Mina says. So what do we do with it? Well, now we can start split testing. We can get more quantifying the data. So one that I wanted to do really quick, this is more of a sanity check. So just notice that I think you're running this in the manager experiments already, where it's like the 3 up top versus, and what's funny, when we were looking at the product before too, we were even saying like, we should probably, there's so much space up there that we can use. And then I just wanted to see inside of ProductPinion. And then sure enough, obviously the one with some stuff up top is clicked more. We kind of knew that was going to happen, but just wanted to do a sanity check to make sure that was going to happen.
And I love that you guys have statistical significance.
Totally. Yeah. Basically means 93% that if you did this again, you get the same result, right? In science, I mean, with science, typically you want like 98, 99%.
I think 95. I think anything above 95% is considered very statistically significant.
Absolutely. But I'd say with marketing, you can probably scale it back a little bit. You could probably get away with 85, 80, that sort of thing. Just depends on what you're comfortable with. You can also, by the way, always add more people at any time. So if you're at a close margin, you need more people, you can actually add more people to hopefully hit a better statistical significance with it as well. So some of the other things that got us thinking and got us to test. So remember when we did that Amazon search simulation, the biggest takeaways was, hey, is 100 serving or the value? So like 100 servings, is that a big thing versus, 0 sugar? Which one's going to come on top? Maybe this is something else you want to look at in there. And, with this one, not very statistically significant, kind of leaning towards that sugar is a bigger thing. With this one, I'd probably add more people just to see. But, what I'd probably do is take the winner. So this one's saying 0 sugar, and I would compare it with your other one that had the 3, no carbs, no whatever, just to see which one would win out. So that was one of the tests that we wanted to play with. So the other thing that we did was just that with this. So for example, we looked through your reviews. You have over 2,000 reviews, very easy to just search athlete. And, naturally we found someone that's like, hey, I'm an athlete. So perfect. We're going to put it in there. This is hopefully to build that trust factor a little bit more and try to understand if putting that in there would resonate with people. Now, when we did this test, now to be honest, we screwed up a little bit.
This is a flaw. Yeah.
Full transparency. Because when I did this, I was like, oh my God, we're going to destroy the other image that's there. Like, this is the other image, right? Like, it has the bottle on there and there's these three things. These are generic, increased muscle recovery. Who cares, right? But turns out more people are selecting this one. And then I was like, oh man, that sucks. Like, we screwed, like, what's going on here?
But then what's important is why they selected, right?
Yeah. So when we look into the actual reasoning behind it, people were saying that some of these are highlighted, we can star them. So people like customer testimonials, but they were saying like with the other one, this person saying doesn't have a huge square covering almost half of it. I was like, oh shit, They're right. Like, we basically covered her. It's kind of obnoxious, right? And maybe the quote's a little too big. I should have found a shorter quote, something easier to digest, not a wall of text smacking you in the face. Maybe we should have changed the title here that said like, used by real athletes, something like that. So I think we're still on the right track with the concept, but it's through testing that you figure out what works. So I'm actually kind of glad this failed, because it kind of gave us some more, this is like if you have a designers doing some stuff, hey, no, look, this is actually not the right thing based on the feedback. Let's get it fixed, right? So yeah, that was.
I love it, man. This is great because this kind of just teaches you, it's not about what you think, it's about the data.
Absolutely. And so speaking of failure, so here's another one that, again, someone said like, oh, what makes this better than other electrolytes, powders, right? Like, I'm thinking, oh yeah, comparison chart. Duh, everyone has a comparison chart. It should do well in this case too. But again, I think in your niche, in your category, you have a lot of different types of competitors as well. Like, there's sachets, there's that sort of thing. I think the reason why, and just for the results of this, I'm also not doing a fair comparison. So part of this is just, putting up there just so we have, something coming in. But realistically, you want to compare apples and apples where it's like, two comparison charts and which one is better. In this case, for context, the people doing this, they don't realize that there is a picture of the item in the other images in the listing. And, we talk about advanced hydration and other stuff. So they're picking it based on,
the visual.
Just what they see, the visual. Yeah. But again, some good takeaways, understanding why they're selecting this. And, I got some tough love because I was like, this image is great. Like, we're going to rock it with this. And, and nope, didn't happen, right? So the people have spoken. So one good point that someone said, like, you don't need to know what the other brands don't have. You just need to focus on your own. That's fair. So maybe the comparison should be a container version versus the sachet version, which is typically a lot more expensive, like the individual serving. So that might be a better comparison chart. Someone else gave me a really good, mission critical advice here, where it's like, the comparison chart's trying too hard to convince me. It's almost like you're overselling and it makes me feel like something's sketchy, right?
Yeah.
Which is good. Some damn good feedback. Like, okay, I got to rejig this. So you're figuring out, what it is that will make people tick with it. So this one, I think, again, we're on the right track. This is basically taking all the feedback from those videos. So another big thing that people were mentioning on the videos, what do we mix it with? Do we mix it with water? Do we mix it with juice? The listing doesn't say, or at least the images don't say. It might be in the bullets there. So, okay, let's tell them straight up. You can mix it in any juice or water. And some people were actually turned off by it being flavorless, but you can turn that into a benefit. Be like, instead of it being flavorless, it's you control the flavor. You choose how you want it to taste.
It's infinite flavors. Yeah.
Infinite flavors. You're not stuck with strawberry, cranberry nonsense, right? You can do whatever you want. Also highlighting the value. So the most servings, an incredible value at 100 servings based on science. So, I mean, here, this is really flaky. I didn't know what to put there, but if we have some third-party stuff, we can throw some stuff in there.
Yeah.
Also, that guarantee is key. Like saying, naming it something specific, like the best performance guarantee. People can return it no matter what. So if you actually tell them that, yeah, don't worry, we'll take your money back, that sort of thing. The number of sales you make are much higher than the number of people that will actually return it. So again, another point in there, and like add that USA, you're supporting a local business. Now that I know it's made in the US, I'd also kind of highlight that there. So this is almost like the key, we call this the sequence benefit test, and it's the key kind of reference image in your listing that kind of highlights everything that someone needs to know, and give them 5 reasons to do it. And we find that this works so well because they literally go through reason by reason by reason. And if you number them, they have a perfect place to start. They know they're starting at number 1, and then they are more likely to read all of them to complete it.
Yeah.
Very nice. How did this one perform?
So a lot of the critique on this. So again, a fair comparison is like, 5 points versus 5 points, that sort of thing. We were just comparing it with another generic image that you had in the listing. And so this one obviously is a lot cleaner, a lot more, space, that sort of thing. So with this, I would go back to the table with, make it cleaner, maybe minimize the text, make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And like this one, we're on the right track. This one, I almost can guarantee we throw that in there, and we'll see a change. We'll see the needle move with conversions.
Maybe we have like a good designer make it look good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The designer is the secret for sure. But when you read these comments, you kind of understand whether it makes sense to move further with this idea, I don't know if you want to bring some up, Matt.
Yeah. So the other one had way too much going on, or like was cluttered and hard to understand. It might have been like you have the right concept, just the wrong execution of like graphics.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. I love it, man. This has been like super, super useful. It's so eye-opening because I love your sequence as well. It's like, okay, step number 1, which one would you choose in the search and why? Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. Step number 2, what objections do you have about this one? Okay, perfect. Now I have a laundry list of improvements to my product. Let's put them and let's give them an order of priority, whatever I feel like is the best. And then I start with the first one. Okay, it doesn't mention anything made in the USA. Okay, my listing here versus my listing here with the made in the USA. What do you think? You're yes or no? Okay, yes, this one is winning. Perfect. Check. We have something new, run it by Amazon. Move on to the next thing. Do it again and again and again, and you get 1% improvement in conversion rate, 1% improvement in conversion rate. And then you do 20 tests, you have 20% improvement in conversion rate. You do 20 tests on your main image and your title, maybe you go from a 0.2 click-through rate to a 0.7 click-through rate, which means for the same exact campaign that you have right now, you can triple the amount of people come into your listing, and you've already improved the conversion rate. So now you're making so much more money because you have that feedback loop of, here's my product. What's wrong with it? What do you like about others? This, okay, I have improved it. What do you think? Yeah, I like it. Implement and go on again and again and again infinitely.
Yeah, you're right on the money there. The big picture stuff is it's never perfect. And it's always going to be different depending on your audience. So even if you look at your competitors, you want to copy them, they may be serving a little different audience. So they may not be right for your audience. But what I like what you say there, if you improve it all the time, and we did this math earlier, if you improve one metric, say it's conversion of the main image, by 1.4% per week, in a year, you double it. So as long as you improve it all the time, you'll be making more and more money.
Yeah. That's, the same effort that you should put in PPC, where you're constantly trying to bring more people to the listing at a cheaper price. You should be putting the exact same effort, if not more, into your conversion rate, because every dollar you spend on ads will go further and it'll make you more money. I love it. Thank you guys so much. I really, really believe in this product and what you guys are doing. And I love that you're coming from the perspective of Amazon sellers, people who are actively selling on Amazon or sold their businesses. Where can people find you? Where can people learn more? Do you put out a lot more content like this?
Yeah, that's our game plan for this year. So we haven't done a lot of content and that sort of thing, but we're planning on it. We're going to be releasing videos, and basically every time we have some like really cool tests, we're going to be sharing and showing you what you guys can do to make it better for you. At the end of the day, don't leave the money on the table. If you haven't been testing, I guarantee that you're leaving a crap ton of money on the table. And it's just an easy and fast way to grow your business versus, say, launching another product. Like, make sure all your products are optimized before you dive into more inventory and dive into other products. So ProductPinion.com. And if you have any questions, email is just matt@ProductPinion.com. Super easy.
Perfect. Thank you guys for coming on the channel. Peace out, everyone.